What is up, my friends? Jesse here with Just Man Sports Cards. Today we're going to do a little hobby top. Made a list, so I won't get off topic, but just random things that I've been thinking about and kind of what I've been up to in the hobby. So I want to start off with I've just been trying to focus on creating guardrails and like how to consolidate my collection and the best way to do that. And I've been thinking about it quite a bit, and I've thought about it for probably 6 months, more than that. I think we're all kind of looking for ways to focus. I guess that's the better word. So one of the first things I started doing probably over a year ago is I narrowed my focus to you really have to be a top 20 all-time NBA player. I used to keep it at like Hall of Fame. You had to be a for sure Hall of Famer. That just led down way too many rabbit holes. So eventually, yeah, I narrowed the top 20. So that kind of kicked out people like Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, who I both have still a decent collection of theirs. But they kind of fall out of the top 20. But so who does that include? Jordan, Shaq, Garnett, Duncan, Kareem, Magic have been my main focus. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. What I've been doing is it was probably last week, I spent over an hour just restructuring my eBay search list because I find that I spend more time going through that every day than I want to. So one of the ways I felt like I could do that is to make it more focused, and then I get fewer alerts every day. Uh, so I used to have it maxed out. I don't have it maxed out to the total amount now, which is good. So I've really, if you follow the channel, I've really focused on population, rarity. I just did a deeper scrub on that. And the way I kind of think about that is there's 52 weeks in a year. So if the card has a total population of 52, it could potentially go at on auction every single week if a collector was willing to give up their card. If it's a pop 52 total pop, it's most likely not going to show up every week, probably not even every month, from my experience. But that sets some sort of like, okay, if there are 52 of them out there, there could be one that goes to auction every week. Originally, so what I set mine to, and this is I mainly collect Jordan, but I set it to a total PSA population of 300. And it would have to be the way I would do that is I would if there was a total population of 500 and PSA 8 and higher was 300 or less, I'd be okay collecting the 8 or higher. Uh, and then just by doing that, what I kind of noticed is with some of those cards, they would show up to auction like every single week. Um, Maybe not in the grade that I was looking for higher, but a lower grade would show up. So I just felt like kind of watching that for a while, there wasn't enough a sense of scarcity of the card to kind of drive its collectability or market, however you want to look at that, supply demand, that whole matrix. Uh, so then with this reworking of the search list, what I really went through and I looked at um, is I've started to look at populations of total population, not even including the grade I'm looking at 100 or less. So that's kind of what I've really been trying to focus in on. Maybe like a total population of 150 and PSA 8 or higher is 100 or less. I think that's good, but really I'm really trying to focus on the total population being 100 or less, and then if you can pick up a 7 or 8 of a card like that, then typically there's 75 or less copies out there currently graded. I only look at PSA populations. I don't, yeah, there's, so that's a big way that I've been doing focus. Is the new number is 100, it's not 300. So, um, next thing is on my list, a good friend of the channel, a guy that I talk with offline, or I guess we talk online, Mike. We both collect members only cards, and he had always really encouraged me to enter my MJ collection into the PSA set registry. They have a set registry for Michael Jordan members only. I forget how many cards it is. It's like 20 cards or something like that. It's not a whole lot of cards, but I thought I was doing pretty good on the list. Um, so I entered my collection, and I'm number 3. Northwest Sports Cards. You'll see him on Cajun Cardboard's channel. He's number 1 on the list. He has a pretty sick members only collection, so I don't know that I'll ever surpass him just because some of the tens are impossible. Mike is number 2, and I am number 3, barely. I forget who the place person is, but they're not far behind me. I have picked up, since I entered that, 3 cards. So I should be getting some more points. And it's kind of interesting is if you scan your card or you enter your registration number, I had this happen to one card. It showed up in someone else's collection on the set registry. So then you have to do this thing where you like request that they remove it from their set registry. And then if they don't do that, then you have to prove that you actually have the card in hand and that it's in your collection. So one of the bigger cards, it's actually the Michael Jordan Never Compromise members only. Uh, that card is showing up in someone else's collection, but I bought it and I have it in hand. So I just and that's a super 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 rare Michael Jordan card. I have the Kobe too. Um, so that's one of those cards like if you see in a 5 or a 6 PSA, it's wise to pick it up because you might not ever see it again. Um, so there's a lot of talk on like members only, and I just watched a Cajun Cardboard thing, and he said like it was a video on the top 20 most misunderstood or misrecognized Michael Jordan's cards, and members only comes up on that. Uh, and members only cards definitely go for a premium. Depending on the card, it goes for 20 to 40% higher than the normal base version. But members only, they were mailed out in whole sets. Uh, and then, like, they started in 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97. And I believe 97 was the last year. And as you get higher in the years, the rarer they get for whatever reason. There's actually quite a few 92s, 93s, and then they start to drop 94, 95, and then 96 and 97 are some of those cards are really hard to find. Even some of the 95 stuff, I just picked up one in a PSA 9, and like the total pop is like pop 53. It's the Class X Michael Jordan members only. It's really hard to tell on the card on that card. Uh, but there's this debate around that it's not pack pulled, which is interesting to me that like there's like this hang up about it. And I thought it was interesting. I watched a P Ryan video last night, and those guys were talking about Cracker Jack cards. And there's just something really cool about the Cracker Jack cards is that they're pulled out of the old Cracker Jack candy things, and they have Cracker Jack stands on them. Those were not pack pulled, but yet they're some of the most sought after cards in the collecting sphere. They're baseball cards, and then I think the same of like T206s. A lot of those came in tobacco packs, They weren't actually like pack pulled. And the way I first got into the members only sphere, and I really, this is what changed it for me. And this is like almost when I first got in a hobby, it was just like, this seems highly underrated to me. As I'm a big Shaq fan. Shaq print runs can be off the moon, to the moon, however you want to say that. But his beam team, as well as his stadium club, have the base and the beam team. They both have a members only version, and the members only version is considerably more rare. I would say it's interesting because I've watched the population grow, and the population growth on the members only has really, really slowed. Where the base version of those cards, it's still looking like a pretty good curve like this, where the members only is like, it's really flattened out, and I think we're starting to see a bigger separation in price in there, especially in the high grade stuff. But then I just think of, I always related it to baseball, and kind of the baseball collectors are, there's a longer lineage there. And in the junk wax era for them, a lot of the key rookie cards, they collect the Tiffany version instead of the base version. And the Tiffany's were complete sets, but they were mailed out, and they were much, much more rare. It's almost like the exact same of the members only, except it has a different name. So to me, it's like, when you look at the Tiffany and the base version and in baseball cards, the Tiffany goes for way more. So in basketball, there's a difference, but it's not the same multiplier as in baseball with the Tiffany. So I've always thought there was room for growth as well as scarcity. There has to be some education about it. It's one of the reasons I started making videos is, um, and I think other people do a really great job of this. Cajun Cardboard's done a really great job of creating a community around Michael Jordan cards. He has a lot of people on, so I applaud that. And then there's other people in other spheres of collecting that have done a good job around that. So I think the members only cards is just something you have to educate people on. You have to show them the differences. It can be tricky. Sometimes PSA does mislabel them. So that's where I'm at on that. Uh, I've been thinking a lot about how to consolidate. We talked about that. Underneath that note, the thing I've been really struggling with is, I have some cards during the pandemic or whatever I bought in the peak. Um, I probably didn't buy like at the peak, but when stuff had dropped 20, 40%, probably 40%, I bought a decent amount of stuff. I bought a decent amount of Duncan, Pierce, Ray Allen, and that was when I bought most of my Kobe collection. Um, but I guess what I didn't realize is that like stuff would drop another 40% off that, especially the not rare stuff. Um, so it's like what to do with that stuff now. The Kobe stuff, I'm pretty comfortable with just like holding on to. I was pretty picky about the cards that I bought, so I feel like I have some rare stuff that people haven't quite figured out how rare it is to other Kobe's rookies cards. So I'm okay just writing that out until I have some doubles and stuff that I wouldn't mind like moving. I guess is where I'm at with that. But like with the Ray Allen, and the Paul Pierce and the Duncan, just like have some of Duncan's moments best. It's like in PS9. I think it's a great picture with him up against Hakeem. Um, but during the peak, I probably paid 50, 60, $70, and those cards are $15 cards now. So I've really struggled on letting those go and taking an L on them. That big of an L on them. They're high pop cards, maybe not in today's standards. I had some light from the computer. There we go. Uh, so they're like a pop 2000. Those cards. So that's where I'm at. Another thing that I finally did, I just haven't got around to making any videos on it, is, um, and I've talked about it on the channel, is I typically wait out until COMC does specials on sending cards in. At the time, it might not seem like that big of a special, but it adds up, especially if you send in a bunch of cards. So I sent in about 2,200, so 2,200 cards. About 2,000 of that was raw, and about 200 of that was graded. So the graded cards are normally $1 to send in, but I got 25% off. So 100 cards, it's like the 25 bucks. Yeah, it's 25 bucks there. And then on 2,000 raw cards, they're normally 50 cents to upload, and so they cost me 35 cents to upload those. And especially for a lot of those cards that I sent in, dollar, $2, $3, $4 cards. Um, and some of them I didn't realize that how cheap they were until you get them. But I'm only getting like 80 cents, and then I'm paying COMC 40 cents. I'm only getting like 40 cents out of the card, but it's an easy way to get the 40 cents back. So I've been having pretty good sales days every day on COMC, which has been nice. It's allowed like a bankroll to kind of roll up there, and it's also gave me some confidence when some big cards come up on COMC on the auctions that I can go ahead and go for them. And then the last thing on my list is 8.5s matter. Uh, I just won a PSA 8.5, uh, and it went for the same price as a PSA 8. And in rare 90 stuff, um, what I'm learning through this registry and just how people think about collecting is you're always wanting to upgrade and like differentiate yourself from the pack. So in this instance, there was roughly 100 cards in eights, nines, and tens, and then but there was about 75 PSA eights, and then there's like three 8.5s, and then 29s and a handful of tens. So by landing at 8.5, you move yourself above 75 collectors, and you move yourself into this much more rare category of someone. You're now in a group of 30, 40 population of cards. And I think just by moving up that half grade, a lot of times you get yourself 60% above other collectors. So I think it might be some of the most underrated uh, cards out there, especially when they go for the same prices as the eights. Is I think they should land somewhere between an 8 and a 9, but they typically don't. They typically land much closer to the 8. So I think if you can pick up an 8.5, they don't pop up that often. PSA doesn't do that many 8.5s, but I'm definitely like looking, because sometimes the difference between an 8 and a 9 can be, especially on rare cards, can be 3, 4x. So then if you can kind of get up into that next sector for just a couple dollars more, I think it was a card that in a PSA 8 normally goes for 50, 55 bucks, but the nines do like 180. So I was able to pick up that 8.5 for about 55. Just a great deal. Hobby Talk. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Have a great weekend.